Hi, everybody. It's Julia, your trusted travel expert, helping you find that je ne sais quoi wherever you are in the world. And this week, I wanted to give you a little kind of peek inside the business and let you know kind of how I travel quite so much and how I get to stay in fabulous places like this one. This is the Culloden Estate and Spa just outside of Belfast. And it is a fabulous castle-esque property. And I'm sitting in some of the gorgeous lobby and enjoying my Irish whiskey sour made with Bushmills, which is located just about an hour or so up the road. So, how is it that I get to do all this and how does it work and all that good stuff? So, this week is actually really, or this trip is really a combination of two different trips. The first part of the week, I was on what's known as a FAM, or an educational trip, a familiarization trip. And it's one of the nicest FAMs I've ever been on. It was a bit of a luxury FAM, and it was not typical for every FAM. They're all a little bit different. And then the second week, I've been kind of doing solo exploration, which is more of a vacation, more of a fun time because it's just me, but it is still a bit of a self FAM, you could call it. So FAM trips are offered. Sometimes they're invitation only, sometimes they're open to just any travel agent that hears about it. Sometimes they're application only. It really just depends on who's giving it and why they're giving it and what their goal is. This particular one was given by a tour operator that specializes in Ireland. And I had noted when I met with her at one of the conferences that I go to, I noted like, oh, I've never been to Ireland. Isn't that ridiculous? I know Europe so well and I've never been to Ireland. And England's one of my favorite places in the world, blah, blah, blah. And so she noted all that down. And even though I haven't sold Ireland to date, she thinks that I have potential. And so she invited me on this FAM. There are some FAMs that are, anyway, this FAM, like I said, was very particular and very special because it was only 9 agents, which is pretty small. Sometimes you can have 40 or 50 agents on a FAM. And it was, like I said, fairly luxury. We were visiting kind of some of the nicest properties, definitely some of the nicest properties in Ireland, but in each destination, we definitely kind of stayed at some of the nicest properties, but we also did get a little bit of a flavor of, kind of a more modern hotel, like in Dublin, versus like a little country house hotel, versus some of the 5-star amazing options you can have, and also a castle stay, or view. And that's not always the case. Sometimes you stay in, a nice option or whatever, but you go and you see. That's all you do on the trip. You don't get to experience the destination. You go and see 10 or 15 hotels, meet with the sales managers, have dinner with, the different general managers and that kind of thing. They can be really intense and really not fun. This one was wonderful. We had a good amount of meeting with salespeople and seeing properties that our clients might be interested in, but also getting to experience the destination, getting to do a few interesting kind of excursions. Like we did a cooking class in Dingle, which was really cool and unexpected, things like that. But it's always with the mind. It's not a vacation. It's not just a relaxing boondoggle where you kind of get wined and dined. You do get that a little bit. You do get special treatment to some extent, but you are working. You are, having, like I said, meetings, talking about what your clients need, what works for your clients, what doesn't, that kind of thing. Taking notes. I like to write a lot of blogs. Been a little blocked lately, but I'm always taking notes, taking lots of different photos, so I have all that data for my clients for when they want to go on the trip. Now, the second part of my trip has been more of a solo exploration because I wasn't going to come to Ireland for the first time and only get a little taste of the southern part of Ireland, which is all the FAM trip covered. It really only did the south and really only the southwest and Dublin. So I purposely booked my flight for 2 weeks instead of just 1 week round trip and worked with a different tour operator to hook me up with a good itinerary that, hit all the places I wanted to see. And then she hooked me up with the different reservation managers or sales managers or however it worked at each property in order to negotiate agent rates. So that's another thing I wanted to talk about is how the cost associated with all this travel that I do. FAM trips can be 100% sponsored, therefore 100% free. I have never done one of those. Typically, those seem to be not as nice. They're more demanding and not as pleasant. All the FAMs I've ever been on, you always have to pay for your air to get to the destination, almost always at least. So that's always a cost to bring into play. And then depending on who's putting on the FAM, the cost for lodging and meals and all of that can vary wildly. This it is a discounted price for the value that the trip that we're getting, but again the point is that we're going to then turn around and sell the destination and be able to recommend it better and all that kind of stuff. On the solo trip, since I'm just doing a solo travel around, some of the hotels can be extremely generous, and you could even get comped by saying that you're an agent. That usually doesn't happen unless you do a lot of business with that particular property. So what they do is they, look at their occupancy and they offer you a rate that's discounted off of their lowest rate. Sometimes it can be a very generous discount. Sometimes, just maybe 5 or 10% less than what they're selling the room for. So I'm not traveling for free. I am paying for this. This particular place, it's not exactly cheap, but it was so beautiful and such a special place that I wanted to give it a go, and they upgraded me to a suite, so that's really, really nice. So that's sort of, I do this so that I can, share it with all of you. So that's kind of a little insider look at what a FAM trip is and how I get to travel so much. That's it for this week, and I will talk to you next week. Bye.